All right, good job. Good to see you here. How many of you actually heard us speak about how to change memories? How many have? All right. Most of you? Some of you haven't? All right, so the most important thing about why you have problems, the cause of all your problems, was my mission to figure out why I was so jacked up in my head, why I had problems, why my life was a mess. And so once I started figuring out that basically the cause of all of our problems actually starts at birth. The moment you're born, you're exposed to people with problems. Your parents had their own emotional coping skills. Your parents had their emotional issues. And what they're going to do, they don't call them emotional issues. When your life today, in your head and in your world and everything that you do right now is normal for you. For you, it's normal to be upset. It's for you to be rejected, for you to be bothered and upset. Whatever you do right now, it's normal. And the reason why it's normal is because of your life experiences. Your brain captured memories, captured experiences with your mom, your dad, boyfriends, girlfriends, drug experiences, whatever it is that you experience, your brain captures it and organizes it and puts it in the back of your head. All right? Now what your brain will do, it's just a computer. If you realize that your brain is just a flesh computer, but this computer also operates by itself and updates itself naturally based on what's being exposed to you at the moment in time. Which means when you start experiencing life, your brain starts updating itself, and then you start to creating problems. Like some people said, I didn't have any problems when I was younger, but the reason why you didn't have any problems when you were younger because you were busy. You weren't thinking. And the older you get and the more time you got to set to reflect on what's going on in your life, guess what you start doing? Thinking. And you know what you think? You don't go back to all the good things in your life. Where you go? The bad things. And you know why you go to the bad things? Because your brain wants to keep you safe. So here it is, you had a bad experience, say your girlfriend broke up, or a death, or a murder, or some abuse. You will remember it, and as you remember it, you're actually trying to prepare yourself for the next time it happens. Even if it doesn't happen, guess what happens when you remember it? You re-experience it. So now what you're doing is you're programming yourself to be in that state of mind. So to relapse is not an accident. You know how you relapse? First of all, you have no emotional coping skills. Your best skill is to pretend like it didn't happen, ignore it, drink, sex, clean, work, divert your attention. And you know how well that works? Only as well as until you stop. You know, using your drugs, it does numb your pain. But it wears off. And then next thing you know, you figured out you've got a bigger problem than what you started with. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's only a temporary escape. Now this is the brain's natural way of dealing with things. So what you want to do is figure out how to change what drives your pain, your addiction, and that is memory. You're not broken, you're not screwed up, and there's nothing wrong with you. You're just successfully reproducing from inside yourself. So you can come to a bill of tat and you can work your butt off and you keep your mind busy and you try not to think. But the moment you stop, what's inside your head already will try to work its way out. Now usually it only works its way out when things aren't good. It's usually when the shit hits the fan. It's usually when your girlfriend broke up with you, your boyfriend broke up with you, you got fired, your mom died, shit hits the fan, and all of a sudden, you know what your brain says? I've got you feel good. And you know what your feel good is? In the shit that caused you more pain, and that is the drug. Now logically, now here's something interesting. Logically, you know what's going to happen when you go back to drugs, don't you? Yeah. What's going to happen? You're going to screw yourself up. You're going to end up incarcerated. Bad things are going to happen to you. You know that logically. But the part of you that you haven't been working with, which is the smartest part about you, and that's not what you're thinking with right now. The part of you that's so smart is the unconscious mind and its operating system. So if throughout your life you've had bad experiences and you don't want to sit around thinking about those bad experiences, because you know what happens when you do? You feel what? Bad. So you try to avoid that. Well, the problem is when you're feeling bad, life is really giving you a bad deck of cards and you're feeling bad every turn of the card, it gets worse, and then your brain says, I have your escape. At that point, your logic is not existent. Your unconscious, your limbic system, which your autonomic system is whenever you see a spider, or you see a snake, or you see your ex, or whoever it is that scares the bejeebies out of you, you automatically respond, and you're not doing it consciously. This part of you that is so smart that you are not smart enough to know how to change it until today with this new technology that I'm bringing to you, and that is the ability to change memory. As I said before, memory comes in 5 different styles. Some of you may not have pictures in your head, but you really feel. Feeling is a memory. Feeling is what makes you act stupid and do weird things, and also good things too. All right, you have sounds inside of your head. The voices inside your head, I venture to say, every one of you talk to yourself all the time. Now, I venture to say, hopefully some of it's good, but usually some of it is not so good. Depression is an art and a skill. In order to be depressed, you must have depressing things. You remember that guy, I forgot what that guy's name, the famous cook?
Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain. You know, here it is, this guy figured out that heroin's bad. So he built a stronghold that he will never go back to heroin. And he didn't. But what he didn't know how to do is get rid of what drove his addiction. You know what that was? His past childhood and life experiences that hurt him. Now, if you're busy and you're not thinking about it, you're not depressed. Unfortunately, the older you get, the life slows down, and what you didn't change inside your head, those memories, hurts, and pains that are still there are waiting for you. Some of you, we talk about coming come do some of our session work. And you know why you'd be scared to go into session work? And you know honestly why. Why? Because inside you there is what? Pain, hurtful memories. Now, where are these? Are they inside you? No. Now, when you ignore them, are they still inside you? Yes. When you're getting high, when you're getting drunk, when you're getting all the stupid shit that you've done, was it still waiting for you? Yeah. If you clean the house and you lick the floor and you do anything and everything, but is it still there? Yeah. So how fast can you run from it? You can't. So the only way to actually free yourself is to go inside yourself and change what you carry within you. This is the only thing that's going to set you free. Now the problem is you're an expert. You're an expert at running from your own shit. That's why you're here. And by the way, let me tell you something. This is the #1 coping skill in the world. Everyone uses it. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Now the weird thing is, if you've had some really bad stuff, some really juicy, horrible, painful, horrific, bad stuff, you have a bigger thing to run from. Isn't that right? Now, see again, remember, understanding memory. Memory is not the real thing. The real thing happened whenever it was years ago. The memory you carry is only recorded data. Now, the recorded data has the sensations, the feelings, the sounds, the pictures, the movies, the slideshows inside you. If you change what's inside you, who changes? You. If you have people you hate and you would never want to forgive, who are you not forgiving and who are you hating? Yourself. If you have memories of being raped, beaten, abused, traumatized, horrible experiences, and you name the worst possible thing, who is doing it to you now? And how are you doing it? You're using what to do it with? Memory. All right? Now, there are going to be a lot of you who are just too scared to go inside yourself and deal with yourself. And you know why? Because it hurts inside. And no matter how much you run or how much you drink or how much you work your ass off, it's still sitting there to either do one of two things for you. It'll help you heal by going there and changing it, or it's going to control you. And it's going to change you. And then the change is not going to be what you call a pretty change. All right, now these are the facts. All right, so I teach tapping. Now, why does tapping work? It's very simple. how your brain works. You think of something positive. What follows after you think of it? You feel it. Now, that's the autonomic system built from your memories and created the feeling inside your body. If you have a bad experience, your brain captures it and it's recorded on your cortex, and when you think of it or someone looks at you a certain way, all of a sudden it's a memory and it shows up where? Boom, right here. Now, this is unconscious work. Your brain is doing it on your behalf to keep you safe, to keep you in alignment to your stuff. You got it? So when we're tapping, when you go to a memory, the act of visiting a memory, you're aiming, you're noticing, and with the mental attention and attitude is, I'm going to change you, memory, attitude. So if you go to your memories and your whole intention is to reminisce, you know what I mean by reminisce? You go back and you experience it again. And then you get into the trance of that memory and you're really feeling bad. Now, each time you visit a memory, when you're done with the memory, your brain actually rewrites the memory on your cortex. So one of the things that we're doing with the tapping, it's a physical sensation. When you're tapping on certain points, these are actually meridian points, Chinese acupressure points. And what happens is when you think, the moment you think, your mind triggers the body to respond based on what you recorded in your brain. That's why when you think happy thoughts, you start to feel happy. That's when you have bad thoughts, you feel bad. It's an automatic, mechanical thing that happens. But if you come with your consciousness, which is frontal precortex, you're saying, I want to change this memory. First attitude is I intend to change the memory, which also gives your other part of your brain the intention of why you visit. Now let's say, for example, you feel like shit right now, and you're feeling really bad. And then you remember a bad memory. What is the intention of doing that? Your intention is to go visit the bad memory to feel what? Worse. Which also means you're adding more bad feelings into the memory. You see that? Yeah. So in order, if you're really depressed and you want to be more depressed, let me tell you how to do it. Feel really bad. And then visit all your other bad memories. You can amplify and create something really horrific. And then asking why is usually a bad question. Why do they did this to me? Why does no one love me? And you know what your brain will do for you? What it always does. How many times today you've asked yourself, where's my shoes? What time is it? Where do I need to be next? Where's my toothbrush? Where's my shoes? And guess what your brain does? Finds the answer, doesn't it? So if you keep asking yourself, why am I so screwed up? Why do I have all these problems? You know what your brain's going to do? It's going to start looking around in the archives and try to find something to support this question. So you've got to change the archives, which are the memories and references inside your head. You got it? So the tapping, reason why it really works, tapping by itself is only a relaxation process. It relaxes you. It brings you back to the moment of now. When you're stressed out, when you're having a problem, where are you? In the past. Do you realize all your problems, every one of your freaking problems started in the past, not now? So when you're tapping, what you're actually doing is aiming at a memory, and then you're tapping. The moment you tap, you bring your thoughts away from the past to right now. Feel your fingers, get your head up, notice where you are, and you're tapping. You're bringing yourself to what reality is right now. You're here. You got it? This is why tapping works. It's actually mechanical. Now the beauty of this is that when you go inside your head, from the inside of your mind thinking, when you go to a memory, you're going to see a picture of something. You're going to see a face of something. You're going to feel something in your body. You're going to hear a sound. Now consciously, what you want to do is aim at those pieces. When you think of what someone said, you're going to the auditory cortex, and you're actually adjusting the memory there. When you go to your feelings in your body and you start noticing, I feel this tightness in my chest, and you're tapping, you're relaxing the tightness in your chest, and you're also changing the motor cortex and other parts of your mind. And you look at the pictures in your head, you got visual cortex. You look at the pictures in your head. How many of you noticed when we did the tapping in the group, even though you didn't believe this shit was going to work, even you thought this was just weird, but when you started tapping, you went back to the memory, you noticed the picture in your mind changed? How many of you noticed that? Now, you know why it did that? Is because this is how the brain works. And what's in your head is not the real thing. But here's the problem. If you start changing your bad memories, you know what you're going to start asking yourself? Who am I? Who am I now? If I change my bad memories, I'm going to lose my identity and your value. Because your whole life, and the reason why you're here, is because you successfully put yourself in rehab. This is not a mistake, you know that. This is well designed by your brain, and you kept trying to run from what's inside yourself, and you look for the best option, which is drugs. You know, of course, if you take the drugs away and you don't change your memories, guess what your next option will be? Either work your ass off, clean yourself, clean everything that's possible, or like some people do, and it's very high amongst those who quit using their drug, is they kill themselves. And why do they kill themselves? Because they didn't change the memories. The cause of your problems, all problems, starts at birth, and the real cause is perception. How you perceive your internal world outwardly. You got it? Now, by the way, the most intelligent people you'll ever meet in the entire planet are the ones who are conscious of their own unconscious. Which means those of you who are aware of what you're doing in there. You got it? And secondly, not falling in love with what's in there, but changing the unpleasantries of what is in there. Which basically means change your memories. So if you see someone tapping in this room or in the facility, that's a sign of emotional intelligence. You'll notice a person who is not so intelligent when they scoff at it and they laugh at it and they pretend like they don't have any shit. And let me tell you something. They're full of shit. And you know the first sign you can tell that somebody has a problem is their breathing. Everyone has something they can work on. I've been tapping myself for more than 20 years. And you know what? I still do. I tapped this morning. You know why? Because life is always changing and I have to deal with my own head. And I'm responsible for me. You can't fix me. I can. But you know what? You may bother me, but the problem is it's not you. It's my reaction to you. This is what you call living in the upper model of the world. Lower model of the world says, you, my past, everyone makes me feel bad. Which means you're subject to everyone else. So I'm going to give you the 6 most important times to tap. The most important time to tap on yourself is in what I call the heat of the moment. Heat of the moment. So what does that mean, heat of the moment? Right now. Right now. I am being triggered by what you say, how you look, and what they say. You hear me? Yep. To me, this is the most important thing because for me personally, I can't go and look inside my head and find anything in my past. I don't have what you call good memory recall. But I know when I'm bothered right now, I go, oh shit, let it go, let it go. And I get my head up and I move my eyes across because when you see people down, they're looking down, they're actually associating and feeling the feeling. When you feel bad, first of all, become mindful. This is a very powerful mindfulness process. Notice that you feel bad. Notice that you're looking at a picture. Notice you're hearing something. Notice the sensations in your body. Own it, recognize it, then what you want to do is change it. So first I notice it, then I go up, let it go, let it go, let it go. I tap anywhere. I tap in restaurants, I tap at the gas station, I tap in public. How many of you see me tap while I was here? I do tap on myself, and you know why? It's a sign of high intelligence. Emotionally intelligent people will make more money. Emotionally intelligent people will move beyond what fears of others will never do. I'm doing things I could never do in a million years, speaking in front of you. I was scared. I was always afraid of being public. I could never stand in front of class. I could never do any of that stuff. You know, Jeff was the same way. Jeff was the same way. I tapped on that guy a bunch of times on his public speaking stuff. In the very beginning days, he doesn't seem like he has that big of a problem anymore, does he? And you know how you get that way? Is you persistently work on what it is in your head. You persistently work on it. That's what I did. So now I'm traveling around the world. I make a lot of money just for words. I don't know about you. I'd rather talk than dig a ditch. I'd rather talk than use a hammer. Nothing wrong with a hammer and digging the ditches, but I'm just saying I like my life easier, and the way to get your life easier is change what's in your head. Change your value system. So the heat of the moment is the most important time, and you know why? Because somebody is going to push your buttons. Whose buttons are they?
Yours. My buttons.
Your buttons. Now, by the way, can you change anyone else?
No.
Who can you change?
Myself.
Are you up for it?
Yeah.
Now, by the way, this is not for wimps. This takes a real adult. This is not for children. Children will run from their feelings. They will hide from their feelings and pretend like they're not there. An adult will say, this is my problem. You bother me, but it's really my reaction to you. I'm changing my reaction because I can't fix you. So some of the things that really trigger me is and if I don't have many memories, what's going to happen, your brain is going to use your whole childhood and every bad experience in your life. You have no memory of it because the brain is smart. It will show up in my son. All right, my oldest son was my biggest trigger. And also, unfortunately, I was his biggest problem too. But you know why? Because I gave him what my dad gave me. I passed down my belief system by my attitude and actions with him. So my son, he said, you know, one of the earliest memories I addressed with my son is he came to my office. He goes, hey, Dad, in my home office. He goes, hey, Dad, can I go to my friend's house? I said, sure. I said, you got a ride? He said, yep. You got a ride home? Yep. I said, okay, go ahead. You can go. So about a few hours later, it's dark. He called me and said, hey, Dad, can you come and get me? And I said, I thought you said you had a ride. And so I go pick him up. Now, this is before tapping. I didn't know anything about tapping. Before tapping. So I go and I pick up Adam. That's my oldest son. He gets in a car. He sits next to me. His buddy gets in the back seat. And I'm griping at him. And he has this attitude like, whatever, Dad. Well, that just really pissed me off. So I hit the brakes and said, Adam, if you don't like it, get out. He starts to cry. He goes, Dad, every time I get in the car, you're always griping. Now, at that time, I was reading a book called Mind Works. It was basically NLP, which is actually how our minds work. And that's what I'm giving you, what I've learned over the years. And it said what happens is that people will push your buttons and you'll act and not even know why you do it. So I get home, I bark some orders, and I go sit in my office, and I'm pissed off. Not at him, but at my reaction to him, because he's telling the truth. And I remember what it said. It said, ask better questions. Why are you doing this? Where's the cause of it? And I remembered when I moved in with my grandparents, every day my grandfather would take me to and from school. Guess what he was doing in the car? Griping. So guess what? I learned how to gripe from who? My grandpa. But then it said, then this other technique is they say, well, just what would you rather done? Can you find a memory you'd rather change this with? And I had the memory pop in my mind. And that was when he was born. When he's my oldest, he's the first. I'm in the hospital room and he's across the room. My wife's having a C-section. They pull this little baby out. And the nurse walked over and gave him to me. And I walked him down. I took him to the nursery. All of a sudden, my griping stopped immediately in my life. Because my brain took a bad feeling and a good feeling and it wired them together. So remember we talked about how memories change? You go to the water hole. It's a good water hole. You take a swim. You get a nice good drink and you love that water hole. And you tell your friends, hey, I know a great water hole. We can go swim. That's back when you were a dinosaur or around dinosaurs, a cave woman or caveman. So your friends say, hey, yeah, tell me about this water hole. It's a great water, sweet water, good swim, beautiful and clean, good memory. So we all go down the water hole. We go down there and all of a sudden they start to jump in and this big old alligator eats them, rips them apart, screaming and crying. All of a sudden this water hole is no longer a good water hole for me. My memory has been updated to where it's not a good thing. This is exactly what the brain did for me. Bad experience, good experience, collapsed it. When you're tapping, you're actually creating a relaxation, linking it to the memory, changing memory. Remember, when you have a bad memory, to add more badness to the memory, all you got to do is feel bad and visit the memory, you add more. So when you're being triggered, what you do is you need to introduce a new feeling, such as relaxation. This is what the tapping does. Get your head up, don't think about the memory, and feel good, or even think of a happy feeling, a happy memory, and then visit the memory again. You're going to change the memory naturally. That's why tapping works. Does that make sense? Yes. This is actually acupressure. Bladder, gallbladder, stomach, kidneys, lungs, large intestine, circulation, heart, small intestine. This is what you're doing. So you're actually creating a relaxation by associating the memory. Now, the odd thing about memories is sometimes you'll have thousands of pieces in a single memory. You have pictures, sounds, sensations, smells, looks, expressions, tones of voice, a butterfly, a picture, and your mind will link all those together in your brain when you consciously can see that and hear that. You got it? So you may go to one memory, you may go over and over again, clean up all the pieces. But here's the deal. If you clean it up, who's cleaned up? You are. If you don't clean it up, guess what you got? You still got the dirt. And guess what? That dirt will get you in the end. All right? So the first and most important time when you're bothered is right now. Tap on it. Boom. Like when I'm in this room and I'm talking to you and you're feeling something, you tap. When you're in games and you're being gamed and you feel the emotions of it, you know what the smart person does? Tap. Tap. Think, move your thoughts away from what's going on. Think of something positive. Release it. Or better yet, listen to what they say. Listen to how horrible they say. They may say some bad things about you. And now you're feeling bad. Guess what you're adding to your memory problem? Bad feelings. But you can also say, after you tap it out, you say, what would I rather do differently in my future? Create the new plan. Here's the stupid thing. They say how bad you are, and you start thinking, yeah, I'm really bad. And then you start remembering all the other bad things you've done. Guess what you're now building? A bigger problem. And then you're going to try to be a good little boy, good little girl, and you're going to graduate, you're going to get out there in the real world, shit hits the fan, and guess what you're going to do? You're going to go back into the pile of shit that you don't want to be in. Do you see that how relapse is not an accident? If you've all your life been running from your own internal world, you will always run until you get caught. And when you get caught, it's not when it's good. It's when it's bad. All right, first and foremost, tap right now when it bothers you. I don't care if it's on the bus, subway, in front of anywhere. One of the biggest things I changed was a look on my dad's face, and it was right at Quiznos, standing at the counter. I asked my wife to go out to the car and get a coupon. Now, I had built this car for her. It was a 1974 Dodge Charger. Some of you guys are motorheads, like cars. This car, when I bought it, was a baby blue, and my wife, she liked pink, and I painted bright panther pink. I mean, it was bright panther pink with a black hood, black top, black leather interior. And the door is like 100 pounds, you know, and she's only 100 pounds herself. So she went out to the car, opened the door, she broke her fingernail. When she walked in the door, I saw the look of my dad's face, that expression that triggered my reaction. Right there on the counter, I said, let it go, let it go, let it go. From that point forward, I never saw that look again. I did it to hear the moment, because if I were to go look for it consciously, I would never find it. Some of the things that my sons would say, they would trigger me. I'd tap on it right then. I just remember I was in a movie. I don't remember what it was, a butterfly effect, I think. And my friends, we were all sitting there watching this movie, and this scary thing jumps right in front of the screen. I go, oh shit! I don't want that shit in my head. You know, and I tapped on it right there, and their friends said, he's tapping on himself. I said, smart people do. All right? So this is how it works. So the second most important time of tapping is reflective tapping. That means you didn't tap when you should have tapped, and you thought about it, that's the time to do it. So at the end of your day, now if you do this, now there's some of the buddies that we've been working for, he said, man, I sleep good every night since you guys came. I said, how you do it? I said, well, at the end of the day, I look at my problems and I mentally tap them away and I fall deep asleep. Reflective tapping is looking back and said, I should have tapped on that, therefore I'm going to do it now and clean it up now. That's that. So when you didn't do it, you should have done it. You know, the most important time, the best time to tap is you're not driving now, but while you're sitting on the toilet. There ain't nobody there but you and God. That way you can let go of shit more than one way. You know what I'm saying? You can let go of all your problems. So right there you tap away your problems. All right? That way it's just you letting go. It's a great sacred play to let go of all the problems that's affecting your life. So the best place to tap is, you've got time to sit there anyway, might as well change something. You know what I'm saying? Reflective tapping. And the third way of tapping is a very important way. It's called inoculating the problem, which means dig through your archives of your life. Go back to your childhood and change those childhood memories. Change it to where they loved you and they gave things to you. They didn't beat you up. They didn't say mean things. They said nice things. Now remember, if you change your past memories, you didn't change what originally happened. You're only going to change what your brain does to you. So go back and change your childhood. If you've been sick and you had illnesses throughout your life, go change every illness. Because if you don't change the pain memories, your pain memories will show up when you're older. And you're going to get there. Some of you already got there, haven't you? Some of you said, I feel like I'm 100 years old. It's because you're carrying around all your life pains today. Go clean up your past. Clean up your past. Go look at your dating experience, your sexual experiences, any trauma experiences, any death experiences, anything. Change those. Now what you're doing is you're cleaning up and you're taking control of it. If you change your past memories, now they won't show up when you leave here. You got that one?
Yeah.
So that means you're cleaning your own head and you're taking control. All right. Another way of tapping is I call conquer tapping. That means you want something you want to overcome. Like say for example, speaking publicly, or say you have a job you hate. You want to go and clean up your job that you hate, or you want to jump out of a plane, or you want to fly, or you want to dance, or you want to sing. So what you do is you pick a project and every day you work on it. You work on it. You work on it, your fear, whatever your fear is, learning school. School is a #1 issue in the world that causes us problems. School issues, learning issues. Clean those up, conquer it. Become very, very smart. Another place of tapping on yourself is pick a project. Now picking a project is picking a person you can't stand. It could be your mother, it could be someone here at Habilitat, it could be an ex-husband, it could be someone who abused you and hurt you and you hate them. Now let me ask you something. If you hate somebody in your past who did bad things to you, who's suffering because of it? Me. So who are you hating, you or them? Me. So ultimate forgiveness is not forgiving what they did, but releasing from inside you what you hold in you to torture you and punish you for what they did. You're drinking the poison and thinking they're going to die. It's you that's dying and they're destroyed of it. So pick a project. Pick a friend, a mother, a mother-in-law, a stepfather, anyone in your past that hurt you, clean it up. Change it. All right? Another way of tapping is what we call affirmation tapping. What you want to do is you want to affirm what you want. You can just say, you can tap, say, you know, my life is amazing. My life is getting better. I'm making a lot of money. People really love me. Why am I so smart? Why is everything so good? And you play out in your head what you want. And you tap out any and all resistance so you can feel it and be it today. Affirmation tapping. Affirming what you want. Now, by the way, let me remind you what affirmations are. You may not know. Affirmations are when you're looking at bad memories inside your head. Just watching the pictures, watching the movies in your head. You know what that is? An affirmation. You don't have to say anything. If you keep looking at bad stuff inside your head, you're affirming it. You're replaying it, rehearsing it, and you're going to get it again. That's an affirmation. Affirmation is feelings that you consistently feel. Bad, bad, bad. The better you get at it, the more you do it, the better you get at it. Boom. Affirmation is tapping out the bad feelings. So practice feeling good. Practice feeling positive. Sounds, words that you say inside your head. Change those words. So if you say bad things in internal dialogue, you listen to what your mother said to you when you were 5, you're not 5, who is the mother's voice that you're doing? It's you. That's an affirmation. Change your voice saying, I love you, you're most amazing. Change it in your head. These are many ways that we affirm. So what you want to do is affirm the positive. The more you practice positive, the better you get. Now here's a problem with doing positive. You know what's wrong with positive? And some of you have a resistance to it. You know why you have a resistance to it? Because it's going to screw up all your misery. It's going to break the rules. It's going to change your identity. Now, I don't know about you. I would like a better identity myself. So do change those memories, all right? Affirmation tapping. Let's see, what else? Is there any more? Set your goals and dreams. Set what you want, pretend, and tap on. I am, I have, I do. Affirmations, gratitude. Be thankful. Every night, lay in bed, find something you're grateful for. Hey, you know, I'm lucky to be alive. I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky that I'm changing my memories. I'm changing myself. This is a smart thing to do. So these are some of the things that I actually do for myself. I have a happy journal. Do I have it with me? I don't have it with me. I got another one, but it's not just happy journal. But I have a happy journal. So in a happy journal, you put the positive things in your life and you replay them. When you change your bad memories, turn them into positive, replay them. Replay them over and over again. You're programming yourself to get this. Is this something you'd like to do? Yes? All right, so how do you tap? I'm going to go back over. First of all, you notice inside you what it is that bothers you. The picture, the sound, the feeling. Secondly, you tap. While you're tapping, move your thoughts away from the problem. Feel your fingers, get your head up. Let it go. All you have to do is say, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Safe to let it go. Just let it go. Deep breath and peace. Smart thing to do is go to a happy memory and feel good. As you're feeling good, this creates a relaxation. Go to happy memory. Your mind's going to grab the good feelings. When you visit the memory that you're working on, it's automatically going to change. See what's left in the memory. Look at faces, trade places, everything inside, and then you tap again. Let it go, safe to let it go, just let it go. Deep breath and peace. Over and over again until you get done with the memory. Now when you're done with the memory, look at it. Is it positive? Is this something you want to re-experience? Now if you feel better, that doesn't mean you're done. You know, they may be punching your face and you still remember and see the punch, but you don't feel bad about it. That is not a finished memory because you're still going to get punched in the face. You want to change it where they're giving you a hug, giving you a high five, something positive. Now when you do that and you replay this new memory that you just recreated, what you're going to do is you're going to have more of the positive. You got it? This is the most important thing about rewriting memories. So the key point, what's the first key point about tapping on yourself? Aim at what the problem. Notice the problem, identify the problem, notice which part you're going to tap on. The second part is what? Tap. When you're tapping, where do you focus at? Your fingertips. Move away from your feelings, move away from the pictures. What do you say when you tap? Let it go, safe, let it go, just let it go. All right, then go to a happy memory. Feel really good, then visit the memory that you're working on. Is it changed yet? If it hasn't, finish up. You're done with a memory when you got what? Happy thought, a happy memory, a happy feeling. Now let me remind you, one more sign of insanity. You just worked on this memory, you changed it. If you go and look for the old memory and try to recreate it, this is called emotional stupidity. You have the option to focusing on the bad stuff. It's an option, but it's not a smart one. The past is over and it doesn't exist. Keep your mind clean. My personal opinion is your brain is a temple. It's a holy place. There's cobwebs in there and there's things that shouldn't be in your mind. And I think today is the day to make a decision is to change what you keep in your mind. Do you agree? And you know what's going to happen when you change it? One person's life will start to change, and that's yours. Sound good? Yeah. All right, so remember the times of tapping. First and most important time is when?
In the moment.
Right now. Right now. Now, by the way, if you don't want people to see you tapping, tap on that. Don't be afraid of tapping in front of people. But if you don't want people to see you do it another way. You can do it this way. Or you can go like this. Or do it like this. You can do it with your eyes. Or do it like you feel. You can imagine yourself doing it. Feel your fingers between your eyes. Do it right now. In your mind, pretend like you're tapping. Feel your fingers between your eyes. In your mind. Feel your finger side your eye. Just focus on those points under the eye. Your collarbone. Imagine that. Imagine grabbing your wrist. Now take a real deep breath. I'm telling you, it works. It works really well. And the whole intention of using it is doing one thing. I choose to change my mind. I choose to change my life. Now let me say this. I know some of you got some really big stuff in there, and it's too scary to go there by yourself. So don't do it. All you have to do is keep it away, but notice that it's there. Don't go there. Tap here. You know your bad stuff's over there, and you know you're scared of it. Don't go there. Just tap here. You know what's in it. Just let it go. Whatever's in there, I let it go. Do not go there close to it. Tap as if it's far away the brain knows what you're trying to do, and it'll do it for you. So I hope this helps you. It's very important, guys. If you don't do it, that's okay. I will sleep good tonight too, you know, because I'll be tapping on me, because I'm responsible for me, just like you're responsible for you. Does anybody have any questions? I got a question? I'll just go ahead and just say it.
For a lot of us, especially for me, bad memories is like a defense mechanism to not allow that problem to happen again.
Right. So let me say this.
It can be kind of...
So let me just say this out loud. So what he's saying, for a lot of us, we have bad memories, and we keep the bad memories so we won't do it again. Right?
Right, or let something happen to us.
Or let something happen to us.
So to replace the memory and the feeling, does that make us kind of vulnerable to...
That's a very good question. So if we let go of the bad memory, does it make us more vulnerable? Now let me explain that, because there's an insanity to the insanity that you mentioned. Right. The reason why we hold on to bad memories is because if we think we hold it, it keeps us safe. But the truth is, if you know anything about law of attraction, if you hold it inside, you actually attract it. You start seeing it, and you'll find people to do it to you, or you do it by yourself. The craziness is, if you have a bad memory inside, you have a tendency to do it by yourself over and over again, and you find jobs that you attract to that, or people that will give it to you. But once you release the pain and the hurt of the bad memory, the smart part of your brain kicks in, which means, I know it happened, I know I'll never let it happen again, and I'm safe. Holding a bad memory actually attracts it to you. And matter of fact, you get to re-experience it over and over again. Like the kid who walked down the street, got bit by a dog. All right, the same street he has to go to school. Every day you go to school, now he's looking for the dog. He's planning on getting bit. Now he's 54 years old, and guess what? The dog is still biting him at 54 years old, and he's still afraid. But when you tap away the bad experience, the smart part kicks in and goes, I know dogs can bite me. Not all dogs are bad. I'm just very smart, and I'm aware of the good ones and the bad ones. You see the difference? So the insanity is that I'm going to hold on to this bad memory so it won't happen again. While you're holding on to the bad memory, as you revisit the bad memory, what happens? It happens again. By yourself. Who's doing it to you? You are. So the insanity is keeping the bad memories, thinking it's going to keep you safe, but in reality, you repeat it over and over again. So there is a smart part to your unconsciousness. If you have fear, if you're nearly drowned and you have a fear of water, and anytime anybody runs a bath water, you feel like you're going to drown, that's insanity. But when you tap it away, you know you can't swim. You're not going to jump in the deep water because you know you can't swim. So you see the difference? It clears it up. Anybody else? Yes.
I heard you guys, like, last time you guys brought, like, lookalike, like, drugs and, like, paraphernalia and stuff to get rid of, like, those, like, triggers and stuff. Do you guys still do that?
We do. We haven't done it here. Now, let me remind you, you know what hypnosis is, right?
Yeah.
You know what triggers are. You know, when you see blood veins, or you see needles, or you see spoons, then automatically you see it, you go into a trance. All right, so what happens is we pull the trance away from the drug, and we link it to the real cause of your problem. If you think about drugs and you still think of getting high, that's not a smart thing. What we do is we link it to the truth. Drugs equals death. Drugs equals walking into a trailer house when you see your friend who's been dead for 3 days of an overdose. Drugs equals the pain of what you experience in jail. And remember the shame and embarrassment and the things that you did to your family because of drugs. So what we do is we take the juice out of the drugs and the affection and the high out of the drugs and put it back where it belongs. It's going to destroy you. It's going to incarcerate you. It's going to hurt your family. It's going to cause death. It causes hurt, murder. That's what we do. We link it to the proper thing. Because whenever a drug addict, it doesn't have to be a drug addict, it could be a food addict, whenever they feel bad, they have chocolate cake in their mind. And they're going to think, oh my God, it's going to feel really good. They're not worrying about how their pants won't fit them tomorrow. All right? They go straight to the high of the drug, or they go to that drug, and drugs have its ritual, has its hypnosis. We want to get rid of it. We want, when you think of drugs, you say, no way in hell will I get close to that. Because you got the proof. The bad things, the hurtful things, and all that. But see, the reason why addicts go back to drugs, one of two reasons. One, they don't know how to deal with their stuff, they're trying to escape. And two, they don't know how to escape. They're being driven by their own pain. So what we'll do is, and they don't have any other option. Your only option is to use drugs. All right? So we give you a better option. Friends, family, surfing, talking to someone. Go back to people who love you and really care for you. Your druggy friends don't give a shit about you. They will use you, sell you, take from you, destroy you. And by the way, drugs never liked you anyway. They tried to kill you. So we're putting everything in proper place. Anybody else?
So, use the example like if you were like beaten, right? And you're like trying to change the memory to like they're saying good things or like they're hugging you or something like that. And like, I don't know,
So let me just say this, everybody here. So say you have a memory of being beaten by somebody, and we say change the memory to where they're hugging you.
Right.
All right. Let me explain how this works. First of all, if you have a memory of being beaten, inside the memory there's a lot of pain. You can't change the memory until you release your pain. Remember, when you go to a memory of being beaten, you were beaten at 5 years old, 10 years old, or last year, who's beating you when you visit the memory now? You are. So now you are the beater who's beating you inside yourself. All right. So when you release who beat you, who is it now? You change the program. That doesn't make you stupid, though. If you have someone who's abusive, you're still smart enough to say, I'm not going around that person. But the weird thing is, if you don't change the abuse memory, since you're rehearsing being abused, you're going to find that person, let them do it again, or you'll do it too.
So my question is, like, later down the road, say you want to like help other people with the shit that you've been through.
Now say that again one more time.
Say you want to like help people who have been through the same thing you've been through, but like to get through the kind of stuff that you are doing to yourself in your head, you gotta change all those memories, and say you get really good at it, you change all your memories and you're in a good place, but like when it comes to helping people, like I don't see how it will be the same because you don't have that attachment.
Okay, so what she's basically saying, I want to help other people who are beaten too. Right? So if I change all my memories of being beaten, when somebody comes into my office and I want to help them be beaten, I won't understand how to do it, right? And you won't even sympathize with them or know how to help them. Now, by the way, I've been beaten. I've been abused. I've been through a lot of shit. And you know what? I help a lot of people. See, the problem is that you think, and there's a weirdness to it, if you feel depressed and somebody comes to your room, if you're depressed with them, they can bond with them and you can help them. And that's what we call emotional stupidity. But if you heal your depression, heal your beatings, you're no longer beaten. When some little girl comes in, some young woman comes in and she's beaten, and you know what you'll say? I know, I used to have been there. Let me show you how to be free. The difference is you're not beaten anymore. Let's end the emotional cycle.
Even though your memories are different?
Even if your memory, because see, you're not stupid. That's the cool thing. You know you're beaten, you're no longer beaten. You know how it works. And you can lend them a helping hand. But if you're still beaten inside, you're still being abused inside, you will support their abuse and you will never get them out of it because you're still in yours. Healed people create healed people. Sick people create sick people. I mean, all of you been around your family. Didn't they have problems? Didn't they help you have yours? This is what we do. So if you heal your pains, you can help them out of theirs. But if you have the same pain, you're going to have a big cry party together and never get out. Got it? Was this good for you guys? Yeah. Now, here's the most important thing you could ever do to yourself, and I want you to listen to me very clearly. Learn how to like yourself. Learn how to love yourself. Learn how to be kind to yourself. And how you do that is change the unpleasant memories within yourself. Your self-value, your esteeming self, comes from what you hold inside you. Change the unpleasantries, and your life will never, ever, ever be like it was. Okay? Tap on yourself. Smart people do. Thank you, guys. Good job.